Hey guys, TrepChains here, checking out the alpha for Diablo Immortal. This is mainly available, oh, backwards, locked off, mainly available here in Australia, plus some Blizzard friends and family, but yeah, I'm on the Australia alpha here. Fighting some mobs, so I just want to provide some feedback in what I guess I've learnt and found so far about this game, Diablo Immortal. With a bit of context, so I am a Diablo player, as in a PC Diablo player, primarily anyway. I am not a phone game player, so I do not generally play mobile phone games. So that's important for context because I cannot really compare this to other phone games because I simply have not played them. So all my comparisons here will be in relation to, I guess, Diablo games as opposed to, oops, I just threw a trap nowhere near the boss. That trap is better placed. Oh, and then the boss ran away. That's great. Let's put a new trap down. In relation to other Diablo games rather than in relation to other phone games. Also, because I'm not really a phone game player, I do find some of the controls a bit challenging just simply because I'm not used to them. I'm used to a mouse and keyboard. I find the movement one, which is my left thumb using the movement toggle, I find that a bit difficult. But I do the skills, which is my right thumb here, do seem to make a lot of sense to me. So I feel like I do okay with my attack controls, for example, but not as well with my movement controls. So if I'm a bit clunky, do keep in mind I am not used to playing phone games, and that obviously impacts how good I am at using these controls. Importantly, combat-wise, this does feel like a Diablo game. Not just combat-wise, but in terms of the action, in terms of the atmosphere, and just in terms of the familiarity with a lot of the characters you're playing. I'm playing a Demon Hunter here, which is from Diablo 3. But the NPCs that you encounter, Chelsea's in there, Blacksmith from Diablo 2, and the monsters that you're fighting. So you can see here there is a lot of new lore, which is really important and why people who wouldn't necessarily normally play a phone game, but are Diablo fans, will pick up Diablo Immortal. So generally you want to read through that dialogue. One of the frustrating things about this game, from my perspective, again, as a Diablo fan here, who one of the key reasons I want to play this is for the lore, is the questing part mainly is in open world. And in this game, in open world, you can run into other players. So I might be here reading a letter to my former brothers. Your vanguard has failed and my great work will continue. This library will serve the future generations of Nephilim as a monument to their salvation and to your failure, from Zoltan Cool. While that hasn't happened there, I might be reading something like that and a monster might just start attacking me. So I find that really frustrating, and one of the key things I think somehow needs to be fixed, that if I'm talking in the open world here to an NPC or some kind of quest dialogue, and I really think there should be some kind of immunity, because I found regularly that I have to effectively skip through dialogue or skip through something because something started attacking me, and that means I'm not getting the full lore experience that I was hoping for. And say that one of the main things I'm looking to get out of Diablo Immortal is, what is the lore? Diablo Immortal is set between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. So there's a lot of lore there people want to know about, both people who play Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 and just general Diablo fans. You know, those who are looking forward to Diablo 4 maybe. So it'd be great if we could properly immerse ourselves in the lore, but to do that, we need to not potentially be attacked. One of the other things that goes along with that is, right now, thankfully, I'm playing here by myself. But again, because it's open world, you can just run into other players along the way. So you might be sitting here and start doing a dialogue with nothing around, but then another player might run in with some monsters and the like. And while maybe seeing another player in the open world may not be totally a bad thing all the time, there are a lot of them from what I've seen so far in this alpha of Diablo Immortal. So I think it would be great if we saw less other people around, because that definitely impacts those interruptions that I mentioned where I start getting attacked by stuff and I have to effectively skip dialogue, skip content, and that's one of my main frustrations with this game so far, particularly because I'm coming at it from I'm not a phone game player. I'm a Diablo fan. I want the lore. So I'm really hoping that that gets improved in the future so that I don't have to worry about if I'm talking to an NPC or reading some dialogue. I don't have to worry about having to skip through the dialogue to stop basically being killed by a mob that's just come up, maybe being spawned by another player, whatever it is. Or just respawned. Here's another player here. So you can see another player. I'm just here. So I'm questing, but there's still other players around. So this other player is fighting this boss. So I've come in this boss. Monster difficulty really high. That generally means the monster difficulty... Okay, this case it's 4 above me. But there is another player here. I have no idea what their level is. Yeah. So I'm just going to chill out here while this guy's fighting this monster difficulty very high, because, I mean, I might as well see. I may not be supposed to see this monster here. I'm not sure. The other monsters around were okay for my level now. So I'm not sure if I meant to run into this monster here or not. It could just be because the other player's here. I don't know. But you will run into things that other players are doing, which is, I guess, a bit interesting, which is not what you'd normally expect. Say you were questing in either Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, that's not going to happen. We have heard, I guess, that Diablo 4 will have this open world element where you run into other players, but I just hope it's not at least as many as I'm seeing in Diablo Immortal, because I'm running into a lot of other players, and it does have a bit of a ruin the immersion thing, particularly as I say, you're trying to do a quest and suddenly there's a few other players around you. It's not too bad in town. See lots of other players in town, and I find that fine. That doesn't really impact me, but it's when I'm out doing quests. I'm intrigued fighting this monster here that is obviously way too high for me, but maybe it's okay for the other player. If I will end up getting some higher level loot, so I'm just going to stick around for it. Okay. So yeah, that's a bit about the open world, I guess, with, as I say, mainly I would say the gameplay and the like is very Diablo style, right? I've got characters I recognize, mobs I recognize, those kinds of things. The action, it's definitely an action game. Seems quite well done on the gameplay side. Seems I got 0 loot out of that monster, which was for the other player after all. But that's okay. Wasn't actually my monster, clearly. But yeah, if I was reading something like this and another player came up with mobs behind them, I would be in trouble and I would have to skip everything. One of my biggest issues. Try this puzzle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'm going to do center. So all off is at the center. And go, I think the same thing to get all the outer ones done. See how we go. That one. So this one. This one. This one. Look, they're all on. I did it. I did it. Okay, well that's good. Got through that. The other thing worth noting about the open world is the map. So we can see here, if we zoom out, all of the areas have effectively level ranges. So the monsters in each area are those levels. So the monsters in Diablo Immortal do not scale to your character level. So when I first got to the quest line, which took me into the Library of Zoltun Kulle, I was level 30, which you can see there the level of the monsters are level 35 to 41. And therefore you can see there at Glyphon, it was red at the time. And I didn't actually realize when I just went in there in the quest, but then the monsters were suddenly saying, hey, these monsters are really high because they're 5 levels above me and basically completely wrecking me. So you've got to be aware when you are questing that you could end up in areas that are just basically beyond you. So you've got to be a little bit careful, and if you do have that, you need to go and level somewhere else. So you could either go back to the earlier zones, for example, or you can do rifts. So particularly elder rifts. And I'm going to talk through a little bit about the elder rifts now to get you some levels before you come back and continue the quest line. So to get to elder rifts, you use the world map and you go to West March. And the elder rifts are located by the Palace Courtyard waypoint. So we're going to go there, teleport to there. Alright, once we're here, you can see there's 2 rift ones, and the one up here is the challenge rift entrance, which we'll come back to later, but right now I'm going to focus on the elder rifts, which you can access here. Before I do that though, I might just go and visit some of the NPCs, because you can see here that I've picked up a lot of gear that I can just generally break down. None of that's going to be an upgrade for me. So that's where you find the elder rifts, but let's quickly go talk to some of the NPCs. And most of them are located in a different part of town, which you can see down here, down at Rackus Plaza. So Rackus Plaza has its own waypoint, so I could run down there. It's not very far, or I could just TP down there. So you can see here now I'm at Rackus Plaza, where there's gems and the blacksmith and the like. We'll come up to those areas here, so you can see the gems are quite popular here, particularly at early level. This apprentice jeweler here, this is where you'll level up your legendary gems. I don't think I have the resources to upgrade this at the moment. No, I can only upgrade my level 1s, which I don't wish to do. Or you can craft new ones if you get enough items from the challenge rifts, but we're looking at elder rifts right now. But I'm just going to go over to the blacksmith here, which is Chassi from Diablo 2, to break down some stuff. Basically, that's the main reason I'm here for. So there are these little salvage all buttons down the bottom, so I can salvage all my white items, and I can salvage all my magic items quite easily, which is nice. You can also, upgrade or transfer rank. So that would be like, I've got my pants here, I rank 2. If I wanted to transfer that rank to another new pair of pants, for example, I could. Anyways, that's the main thing I wanted to do before I went into my elder rift. Or I could just run up. I'm just going to run up from here, actually. If we can just run up this way, we can go straight back to where the elder rifts are. So you can just, as I say, run it if you like. A bit confusing, they have these safe zones where suddenly you're in safe zones, so you shouldn't be able to get attacked, but it doesn't tell you really when you leave the safe zone. So I personally find that a bit confusing because, as I say, I've been randomly attacked in random places and therefore had that skipped dialogue. And you see there are a lot of people here standing around the elder rifts, which is cool. One of the great things about elder rifts and challenge rifts is that I just talked about finding other people in town, which is fine. In the open, where there seems to be a few too many to me personally. In the elder rift, you can go in alone. You can find a party if you want. You can do these multiplayer, or you can just do it solo. So I'm just going to do it solo. So that's what I'm going to do. You can add crests to enhance the rift. Now, these are interesting. I don't have many left, but I'm going to do this rare crest. But you can't tell what it's going to do. So it could do a positive thing or a negative thing to your elder rift. Importantly, you've got these rewards. And this is really important because one of these rewards here is experience. So that's really important. As I say, you might want to come here and do some rifts to level up to help you if you want to quest out in the world and you're going to areas where those monster levels are too high. You're going to get some gold. That's cool. You're going to get some runes, and the runes are used to make legendary gems later. You're going to get fading embers. That's when it's enhanced. And importantly, you're going to get items. So this is also one of the good places to come if you want better gear. to come and do these to get the gear at the end. During the Elder Rift, you'll only drop gold, but after you've killed the boss, items will drop. So we're going to go do this. I am empowering it with a crest to say I don't know if this is going to do a positive or a negative thing to me. Let's go. I'd say I'm doing this solo, so I'm just going to enter the rift there. Let's see what we do. So I've got a bad one. It's red. Monster dodge chance increased. And I need a tap to continue, and that always takes a few seconds. You can see my timer is already going. Now, all of these Elder Rifts are, I guess, a little bit different to what people would consider rifts in Diablo 3, which is where you'll also see the concept of rifts. Primarily because the maps, for a start. So all the maps I've encountered, and I've done a number of these, both Elder Rifts and Challenge Rift now, they are all seeming to be either based on a cave or based on an Halls of Agony type map. So effectively they're all like the long skinny map styles. So there isn't really any open maps available. It's just like cave style maps and Halls of Agony style maps. So that's what they've gone for, at least so far in this alpha. It doesn't mean that's what it's going to be when this game is released, because obviously this is alpha. So that could well change, but that's what we've got in the alpha at the moment. It's basically lots of caves and lots of Halls of Agony in all of our rifts. So you can see here, just gold is dropping on the way. You won't see any items drop, so I don't have to stop to pick up any items, and I can just run over the gold. So that's kind of nice. I do need to keep an eye on my health. I'm really quite bad at keeping an eye on my health in this game. It's worth noting with my primary skill here, I'm just pressing the primary skill at the moment, you'll see a tiny little bit of red building up just on the outside of it, and that's for an ultimate. I don't really use my primary skill enough to be able to use my ultimate often, but if that little red bar you see building up there builds up fully, I'm going to be able to use an ultimate ability for a short time. So it's kind of an incentive to use your primary skill. I'm just going to jump over here. I don't really like where I am. Got this cool jumping skill on the DH, which is cool. I really only have played the Demon Hunter thus far on Immortal. So everything I'm looking at has been based on playing it with a Demon Hunter. Because that's, you know, I like to play with bows. So that suits me well. The Demon Hunter, and some of the traps here are cool. You can see I've got a little trap that I'm regularly putting down here. I do need to keep remembering to use my potion so I don't die. One of the difficulty things I've found with this is the gearing. I've recently had to go Google effectively, and I did find a very helpful blog by the Diablo Immortal developers when I did this, explaining the gearing. So the gearing in-game, I don't find it that intuitive, which is a little bit sad as a Diablo player, but we've got stats including, or attributes. Stats, attributes. Strength, intelligence, fortitude, vitality, and willpower. Now, vitality is self-explanatory because obviously we have vitality in Diablo 1, Diablo 2, Diablo 3. So we all know what vitality is. So that's not a problem. But I was here on a Demon Hunter and I kept getting things with strength on it. And I'm like, well, what is strength? I didn't understand what strength was doing for me as a Demon Hunter. And I didn't feel that was explained well in the game itself. And same with fortitude and willpower. Like, I was getting this on items, fortitude and willpower, and I'm like, well, okay, does this actually help me? I'm not sure. So in general, I have found that explanation not in the game. But I did find it in this blog. So, see, I'm going to die here if I don't use a potion. I better use a potion. So, the strength is actually the main stat for the Demon Hunter, the Monk, as well as the Barbarian. So, now I know that will be giving me damage, so strength is actually good. I was looking at strength items like, would I ever want them on a Demon Hunter? I didn't understand. So, now I know that I kind of do want them on a Demon Hunter, which is helpful information. And, oh, whereas if you did play a wizard, this game also has a wizard. Intelligence would be the primary stat, which is the same as Diablo 3, so a bit better explained, I guess, just based on knowledge of other games. But strength, fortitude, and willpower could definitely use better explanations in-game. Fortitude increases armor and armor penetration, as well as offense and defense ratings. And I would have had no clue about that. And I still don't really know how to judge that based on other things. And willpower increases potency and resistance. And increases offense and defense ratings as well. So, yeah. Fortitude and willpower do some similar stuff, as well as, you know, some different stuff, with one contributing more to resistances and potency, and the other one increasing armor and armor penetration. Okay, here I am at the Rift boss. So these are timed Rift, these Elder Rifts. They are timed at around 10 minutes, is, I believe, what I've worked out. So this boss here, Vikaya, I'm considering her the female butcher, basically. That's what she is to me. So if I call her the female butcher, that's what I mean. Because really, she looks very much like the butcher. In Diablo 3, at least. She's got a nice thing there that she keeps whacking. But yeah, the other thing with Elder Rifts, so they're 10 minutes. And they are giving me, hopefully, some loot here at the end. It's just comparing the loot I do find difficult. With these bosses, when they get down, they will give health globes. They go down in stages. So you'll see there's one health bar above her, which is our overall one. The other one you see, it'll only go down to a certain level, and then she'll drop more globes to me, which is nice. I like globes. They help keep me alive. You can see I still have not built up my primary skill anywhere near where I would need to get my ultimate. So I may not be able to show the ultimate today, because I use that minimally. Throw that into the trap. That should kill those. Killed one of the 3 little ads that she's got there. Okay. The other interesting thing about Elder Rifts that I don't totally understand is how they scale. So I assume they somehow are scaling with my player level, unlike the open world, which is to say the monsters scale based on the map. But that's an assumption. I don't technically know. There's nothing that really explains how they scale. You cannot, when you select an Elder Rift, you can't select the level or anything of the Elder Rift. You can just select that you want to do an Elder Rift. So it's a bit unclear how they scale. I assume it's with my player level, but it's an assumption. It's not a known. And I can see here, Vikaya has about 129,000 health. And just 1 and 2 levels ago, my bosses in these Elder Rifts had 113,000 health. So the health has increased recently. And again, I'm assuming that's because my level's increased now to 35. So maybe I'm on the next level of health for these bosses. Oh, again, can't completely be sure because it's not clear, but you can see it's a similar concept to a rift in Diablo 3, a timed rift, except I've got 10 minutes on these. I do not have the whole, 15 minutes that I would have in a greater rift in Diablo 3. But the point is here, I'm hopefully going to get some loot, which, sometimes you get lucky and get good loot. A lot of the time it's pretty average loot, but that's pretty normal for any kind of Diablo game, right? You got to play enough to get the good loot. Not going to get it all immediately. So I think I've covered the gear a little bit there. I mean, I'm mainly working with rare and magic items right now. I have got a legendary. I can't remember which of my skills that gives a bonus to. I think it's this trap one, which is one of the reasons I actually added the trap skill to my skill bar, because the legendaries do have things that can, potentially add bonuses to certain skills. So we'll have a quick look at my items at the end of this once I've finally taken down Vikaya. There we go. So I only just beat that 9 minutes and I think 4 seconds something. One of the other issues, I really think that time, it comes up for, just a couple of seconds. It would be really great if we had a little bit longer to read how long it took us. And I find that important because basically, it kind of tells me how I can improve or not, as the case may be. So talk to the blacksmith here to see what I got. I'm actually just going to check here first. So you can see some of my items here. So Fortitude. As I say, it's really hard for me to understand what would be better for me out of Fortitude and Willpower. Keep in mind, Fortitude's armor and armor penetration, as well as our offense and defense. Willpower is potency and resistances, in addition to offense and defense. So a little bit hard at this stage to understand, but I mean, some of the legendary items are more obvious because they work with your skills. So you can see some of the items there. If I do just go straight up to my character, you can see what I'm actually wearing, and there I do have 2 legendaries on. So you can see this Hell Trapper cage here. Knife trap damage increased by 10%, so that's one of the reasons I put that knife trap into my build. And this Hellbinder is about explosive shot. So I think I changed my primary skill to explosive shot, and this is an offhand, and you have separate for the Demon Hunter weapons that can be main hands and offhands there. So that could kind of impact your skill. So they're the 2 legendaries I'm wearing, and the ones I found, it's really about the skills that it's improving, whereas your rares are more typical, having things like your Fortitude, Willpower. These are my pants. You can see I've upgraded, so you can see the main attribute is separate to the upgraded attributes that I've added there. Okay, so while I'm at the Blacksmith here, we'll just quickly talk to him again. And you do get the Blacksmith here when you are doing the Elder Rifts, so you don't have to run all the way back in town each time. And then to go back to town, we can just leave the rift there. Okay. So I think that's some of the key things there about the Elder Rifts. Importantly, it gives you experience. That's the main reason I want to be doing it, experience and gear. If you go to the challenge rifts, from what I can tell, they're not giving you experience. They're not giving you gear. So you're going to them to get the runes to make your legendary gems. But the Elder Rifts are great for the experience and potential gear. It's where you could get potential gear. Before we go and enter a challenge rift here, I wanted to have a look at a few of the other things in the UI, including the skills and what I'm using. So you can see these here at skills. You can see the ones I've selected over here, and then, well, with the little ticks on them. So I do have explosive arrow now. I was using crossbow shot for a while, and that's really interesting because the skills that you're picking level up, and hence we assume get better as you're using them. So my explosive arrow right now is down at rank 1, but I'm trying to now level that. Whereas I use crossbow shot for most of my leveling in this game so far. So that's why it's at rank 8. Whereas things I've used practically the whole time, like multi-shot there, are at rank 9. And you can see the daring swing and knife trap I've got more recently, but used a bit more than I have the explosive arrow, and therefore at rank 4 and 5 respectively. So how much you use them depends on how much they level up. You can see here there are some locked skills that I will unlock at higher levels, such as Smokescreen, Chakrams, and Vengeance. And I have heard some great things about Chakrams, but I'm not at the level to be able to get them yet. Level 45 is currently the max level before Paragon levels on this, and I think you can see this somewhere. There we go, level 45 in the top right here, it says Paragon. So I haven't reached level 45, so therefore I have not unlocked Paragon. I don't know what that's like. I hope it's not Diablo 3 style Paragon, which is endless, but I don't know, I haven't got there yet. The codex is something I think worth talking about because I find it a bit confusing. As far as I understand, based on a feedback survey I did, maybe it's meant to help us with our progression, but I don't find that I go looking here for things to do. What I do come here for, you can see here, to claim rewards. So I'm just doing things anyway, and for some of those I will get some rewards, so I'll come here and click the claim rewards button. But I often don't really come here to go, oh, what should I do next? But there are things you can see. So if I equip another rare, I'm probably going to get a little reward for doing some of these things. But I do find overall, personally, the codex a bit confusing. And you can see here there is some kind of battle pass going on as well. Generally, after killing the first monster for a day, there is a daily reward. So I've just collected that there, which looks like it's a new item. So I can go to my inventory. Oh, it's a legendary. Required level 45. So I can't use that right now. I will try not to accidentally break it down. It's to do with Sentry. You can see that there. So there's those kinds of things as well, the codex and, you know, daily rewards and stuff going on as well. But the other big thing I wanted to talk about was challenge rifts. And I think this is important to talk about because it's very different to the terminology challenge rift as used in Diablo 3. If I was comparing it to Diablo 3, I would say it's more like a greater rift. So if I go here, you can see here the difficulties. So effectively, each time you complete a challenge rift, you unlock the next difficulty up. So I haven't done that many of these. You can see I'm only up to level 5. So I can't do a level 6 until I complete a level 5. So that's similar to the concept of greater rifts in Diablo 3, where you complete your greater rift 100 and then you can unlock 101, for example. Now the rewards here is this honor system, which I haven't really worked with much yet. Runes and crests. So the crests here will help you empower the elder rifts, but the runes here, they help make the legendary gems. So that's it. And it also has the leaderboard, which is also how it's similar to greater rifts in Diablo 3. So you can see here, again, people have been playing probably a lot more than me. In the Demon Hunters, some people have completed one of these challenge rifts up to 65. So these are, you do take your character in. It is a random rift, which is why it's so much more like a greater rift to me. You're not getting items at the end. You're not getting experience for this. This is just a, hey, look, I'm cool. But you do get the runes, which help you build the legendary gems. So let's go into one of these challenge rifts so that we can see this. Okay, so I'm in my challenge rift. Oh, I've got some lovely blue straight up. You can see here this is also timed. I believe it's also 10 minutes. I'm going to jump that way for a sec. Throughout this. I'm going to try and see if I can manage to use my explosive arrow enough to try and get to my ultimate. See here, I'm actually, this is quite hard for me. Those guys were kind of wrecking me. So we have the blue progress orbs here on my challenge rift, and you can see I'm in that Halls of Agony style map. So as I say, all the rifts that I've been in, Elder Rifts and Challenge Rifts, have either been cave style maps or Halls of Agony style maps, and this is what I'm calling the Halls of Agony style map here. So see here, I did get a lot of progression. The progression orbs are pretty massive here for killing those couple of blue packs at the start. So that's put me in good stead. I do have some more blues coming up. Okay, I'm just trying to use my arrow a bit. You've got to use it a lot though. Ooh, I'm struggling with my health. Grab that health globe to hopefully build it up to be able to get to the stage where I can have an alternate. I'm only at about, what, a 6th after just trying to press it pretty continuously here. I just totally fired that in the wrong way. This is why we like strafe. I don't have to aim so much. Just moving. Oh, more progression orbs. Okay. Is that, I mean, that must be all of them, but that, I didn't get any progression orbs from the last blue, so somehow that was a bit odd. Oh, another blue coming up, unless these was from the same pack. You do see the blues on the map. You can see that there. The blues are shown on the map here, which is also a bit odd for me. But we can see the blues and any yellows on the map. So it can be a bit helpful if you actually pay attention to your map. Be able to see those monsters. I should use another potion. The potions, you do have like 3 at a time, but it is a timer for when you can use them. So you've got to be aware of that and make sure you're not accidentally hitting that. Otherwise you won't have potions when you need the potions. Got another yellow coming up here. So that will help me get towards that Greater Rift boss. I mean, not Greater Rift, Challenge Rift boss. It's just the terminology for Challenge Rift really confuses me. And it's simply because it's using the same name as something in Diablo 3, but it is so completely different. It's much more like a Diablo 3 Greater Rift. So you can see there's no loot dropping or anything like that. It's all about very similar to how we would consider Diablo 3 Greater Rifts. I need to use this I don't think I'm going to manage to get to my my ultimate here before the end of this. I'm really trying. I'm spamming it, but I need a longer period to get to my ultimate skill. And it's like I really want to use my other skills because my other skills are like better than my primary skill. Particularly my primary skill here is a low level right now. That's not really encouraging me to use it, but if I want to level it, I do need to use it up. See here, I'm nearly at the boss already, and I've managed to get my explosive arrow just to about half. Maybe I can use it a heap on the boss and hope. Okay, I've got 2 champion packs coming up. I should only need one of them to get to the boss. We've got some blue scorpions here. I love my other skills so much, you know. And we have shrines here, not so much pylons. And for example, a protection shrine though is effectively a oops, I just jumped to nowhere. Is a shield pylon, and a conduit shrine is effectively a conduit pylon from Diablo 3. So you've got some of that stuff as being somewhat familiar to you. There is one that was a little bit confusing. I thought it sounded more like speed, but it gave extra critical hit chance or something. One of the shrines. I can't exactly recall. You'll see that we do have some bosses. You saw the boss in my Elder Rift was a new one. Here I have Crusader King, which is a boss that a lot of people are familiar with from Diablo 3. So there is a mix of both new bosses and old bosses. Crusader King and Sandshaper, aka Zoltan Kuhl, being some of the existing ones that you might be familiar with. But there are a bunch of newer bosses as well. Right, Zoltan Kuhl here. Kill. I failed to keep going on the explosive shot, so I don't know, maybe I can just try and do it now, but again, it might not be enough to get to my ultimate, even if I just use explosive shot from here on out. See if I can show this ultimate. No, he's going down pretty quick. I don't think I'm going to get there. He's only at 5,000 health left. No, not going to get there. I'll take him out with that, but not getting to my ultimate. You see there, that was like just over 5 minutes. I'd say it seems like you've got 10 minutes to complete these as well. But you can see there, no loot dropping, no gold dropping, no anything. It's just those runes and the like that you are getting, and that honor is the main thing. You're not getting extra loot. You're not getting extra experience. So if you need a level up, this is not the place to be. Basically, you want to be doing the Elder Rifts to level up. So I think that covers a lot of my initial impressions. I'm just going to, I guess, summarize a few things here. Just quickly, I'll just fight in another Elder Rift without using one of those changes there. Just to go over, I guess, a bit of a summary, which is really overall, okay, you see I'm back in a cave type map. I do find, not being a phone game person, I do find the movement a bit difficult to get used to, but again, that's, as I say, based on my own context of not being used to playing phone games, as opposed to, I guess, I can't really say about the controls because I'm not used to that. I do find the skills, which is what my right thumb is using, that seems pretty self-explanatory, almost like it seems pretty good. I find that system quite good to use. I find the action, the atmosphere to be very Diablo-like, which is pleasing for me as a Diablo fan. And I have actually had a lot of fun playing this alpha. I've actually had a lot of fun. So without having... Oh, I think I'm going to die here soon. Wait, I need to... Oh, I've died. Okay. Without playing many phone games, I'm actually having fun with this. So that's a good thing, right? So I'm personally having fun. Even if I don't play many phone games. Would I play this for hours on end? Probably not. Would I play it when I'm on a bus or a train going somewhere? Yes. I did buy a Switch to get Diablo 3 on the Switch, but I found that a bit cumbersome to have to carry around as well. But obviously I do carry my phone around when I'm on trains and buses. So I can see myself playing this when I'm on a train or a bus going somewhere, doing a quick rift or the like. So that's a real, I guess, positive of it. I think so far it's quite good in that respect, in that that's what I would use it for. I do know I was chatting to my brother, and he doesn't have a PC, and he said he was really looking forward to Immortal because he hasn't played, you know, Diablo for ages because he doesn't have a PC. So this will give him access to a Diablo game. So I found that really interesting because I didn't really think about that, being such a PC gamer and having PCs, several PCs. But for some people, that's going to be a really good thing. Most enjoyable thing for me has been, I think, in general, the combat. It's definitely very Diablo action style combat. But the least enjoyable thing, and therefore what I think needs to be fixed most, okay, not so much in these Elder Rifts, but in the open world, being interrupted while talking to the NPCs is really frustrating. And then you miss dialogue, which as a Diablo fan, I really want that dialogue. That's important to me. And just seeing too many people out there in the open world. Not so bad in town. I don't mind seeing lots of people in town, but in the open world, I'm running into too many people while I'm trying to quest, which makes it's a bit off-putting. Like in here, you know, I'd gone through and I was basically ran into someone else fighting a monster that was way too high for me while I was just going through and trying to quest. So that kind of stuff is a bit annoying, and I hope there's some changes to maybe how many people you could potentially see in the open world or something before this game is complete and released. Few points of confusion that I hope are edited. I don't have... I'm going to die again here. I'm doing great. I'm dying all the time now. Revive at corpse. We got to revive at corpse. They're running backwards. That's nice of them. So, few points of confusion that I hope there's some more tooltips or the like in game. On the attributes, strength, willpower, and whatever the other one is. I hope there's more tooltips to explain what that stuff does in-game. It can be found online, and say there is a great, you know, blog post out there which explains what they do. But it's, you know, not necessarily when I pick up a phone game, I wouldn't necessarily think, oh, I need to go Google everything to be able to make those gear decisions. So that would be good to have more tooltips in games to go, okay, what is willpower? What does it do for me? What is strength? What does it do for me? Those kinds of things. And the difficulty of these Elder Rifts, I still don't understand what influences it. I'm assuming it's my level, right? So I'm level 35. I'm assuming that is the influence here, but I don't know. I can't select anything when I come into the Elder Rift, but just some, again, maybe a tooltip or something explaining what that influence is, what that looks like. And the codex. I mean, I believe it's being used as a bit of a progression thing as well. But again, I don't know if I'm really inhibiting my progression by not ignoring, I guess, the codex most of the time and just clicking it for a few rewards occasionally. So this fleeting shrine here is just like a speed pylon. Not really the one I want, but hey, it might help me get away from these blues if they wreck me like some of the other things have in this Elder Rift. And the Challenge Rift rewards. I mean, they are clearly listed on the page. So, I mean, they are clearly explained, but honestly, I feel like it should be more rewarding. I don't see why. My big thing is I don't see why you don't get experience for completing a challenge rift. I really feel you should be able to. That should be a way that I can level if I want to. So if I want to level right now, I've got to do these rifts here. The challenge rifts aren't really helping me much, but yeah, it would be nice if I could choose if I wanted to level in the challenge rifts. I feel like that anyway. Obviously, I get no gear from them either, so they're really, to me, just for the legendary gems, and maybe, I mean, if you like leaderboards, they're for that as well. They have the leaderboards, but right now, with my concern, I would like to be able to earn the experience there as well. I feel like anytime I'm playing, I should be able to earn experience and be really improving my character. So that's my big concern with challenge Riffs. Yeah. I think that's the key things. You can see here, this is a new boss now that I'm fighting. Like any game, stay out of the red is critical. Varus here is hurting me a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. Using my... I still... You can see I barely use my primary ability. I really should use it more so I eventually get to use my ultimate. But I have not been doing that. So here, as long as I stay in between where those skulls are going, I should be pretty good. Go through a health globe. There. So yeah, I do think Diablo Immortal is worth a try when it comes out, or if you do have alpha access, if you're in Australia or Blizzard friends and family, give it a try. It is fun. It is fun. Even if, you know, some of us aren't used to playing phone games, it is definitely fun. So worth a try. And yeah, just a few ways I personally believe it could improve, but overall it's a pretty fun game. I'm going to take out Varus here. There we go. So pick up the experience, pick up the gear. All the gear looks pretty average. I'll have a quick look at it though. I go into my inventory. You can see here I've still got that daily reward piece I got. But most of these are likely to be, yeah, not really an upgrade. So that's fine. But really, that's most of what Diablo Immortal is, and I guess what we do. There are things like there are some bounties as well that I haven't gone into here. But yeah, give it a try. If you can, give it a try when it comes out. If you can't, give it a try now. And thanks very much for watching, and GG!